me to disable Google from always wanting to verify whether I'm me. Someone can help me find out. Okay, I actually can't figure it out. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Um, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. وبه نستعين على كل أمور الدنيا والدين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وحبيبنا وشفيعنا ونور قلوبنا وقرة أعيننا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. أما بعد، الحمد لله نوينا تعلم وتعليم وتذكر والتذكير والنفع والانتفاع والإفادة والاستفادة والحث على التمسك بكتاب الله وسنة رسوله صلى الله عليه وآله وصحبه وسلم ودعاء إلى الهدى ودلالة على الخير ابتغاء وجه الله ومرضاته وقربه وثوابه سبحانه وتعالى مع لطف وعافية برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. اللهم إنا نسألك علم لدني ومشرب صافي الهني يا وهاب يا غني. وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين آمين يا رب العالمين. تمام. So we were actually on this part, right? So actually Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. Right, the slides on Sayyidah Khadija, right, the one that we've been doing. I think I began doing the slide some time ago. This one, can you all see? Right, this slide some time ago. So I think like if someone anyone who is good at taking notes, right? Anyone who's good at taking notes, can that person actually can be anybody who wants to help me out, right? So just to help me uh as I translate, right? Because I've been trying to do it myself, but it's just alhamdulillah. Right. So if anyone can help me translate as I do it properly, okay, properly. I think uh I was looking at the notes, right? And then I just spotted someone, the one who wrote it, I don't know who it was, but someone wrote it, and they put her friend Latifa. At first, I Khadija had no friend named Latifa. So apparently the person heard me wrong or something. But Nafisa. And Nafisa was the friend of Sayyidah Khadija, who helped arrange the marriage between Sayyidah Khadija and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right. So and then so if anyone wants to help me out, right, let me just put this up on the chat. So if anyone's good at taking notes and you want to help me out, you can put it on, you can put your notes there, and then maybe other people can help me double check also. Right. So inshallah with the intention that this can be a translation, of the book that we're doing. All right. So I hope that people can just help me out on this part. Then it's like your share in da'wah, and then you do the try type of stuff. Okay, tamam. So it was a friend Nafisa. I was a friend Nafisa who was really she had a major role. She had a major role, right, in helping Sayyidah Khadija marry Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, and we mentioned that Sayyidah Khadija, she's been looking out, right, for Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right, since for many years, right, and saw that he was him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, and then so eventually when she was convinced that it was him, she spoke to her close friend Nafisa, and Nafisa spoke to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam showed interest in Sayyidah Khadija, and then she spoke to him thereafter directly. So there's a part whereby in the story whereby we're here, right, whereby she actually speaks to him sallallahu alaihi wasallam directly, right, and then and she actually expresses, and he said that she expressed it before they got married, and it was said that she actually expressed it after they got married, that she hopes that he is indeed the final prophet. And that is why if you look into the slides, there is this commentary right here in the slides about there's no such thing as a wasted effort. Right, so I don't mind many people working on this if you can together work on it, so that we can also eliminate any mistakes, right, in what I mentioned. And I will eventually also look into the text, and also differentiate between what is from the main text and what's from my explanation. Right? So this is no thing as a suicide effort for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? So Rasulullah assured her, right, that, so she said to him, oh my husband, right, had, I am looking, not, I'm looking for, I married you thinking or convinced, that you are indeed the final prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? And so I have hope in that, right? And he responded to her, right? And so she said that, if you are really, if you're really him, right, if you're really him, then don't forget who I am. In a sense, don't forget make dua for me, and don't forget my position with you. I'm your wife, right? So that's basically what she's pointing at, in when she approached Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right? And so she said, right, so I think those of you are helping me out with the slides, so you can start off from um now you can start off from, I think I'm right here. Okay. Right. This one is the marriage itself. The one. Okay, the marriage itself. Right. So basically she at the part whereby she speaks to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, um and there. So we're actually here. Okay, so I'm here. Okay. So she said, فأسرعت تبشر خديجة. So here is Nafisa. Nafisa, she rushed to give the good news to Sayyidah Khadija. You can start from here, so I have been type out from here. So she rushed to give good news to Sayyidah Khadija. فأرسلت إليه بنفسها. Right, that means she sent for him. That means she sent a message to him to come to her, right, himself. Right, so she wants to get into this matter herself and handle it herself. I said, Khadija, فقالت يا ابن عم. And she said, oh, my cousin. And this is the way they would address each other, because it's a tribal society. A tribal society, basically, they're all married one to another. Right? So in a sense that they share, the same lineage. And most of them in the society, they share the same lineage. And a lot of societies, they are like that. Like in Tarim, it's a very tribal society, right? Whereby like almost everyone has some, connection to others, right? And either by marriage, with cousins and so on, right? So Naam. Right? So you have Na'am, all my cousins. They tend to call each other cousins, right? Even though they're not direct cousins. Sayyidah Khadija, right? She does meet Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in his lineage, but I think in the third, right, in the third grandfather or something, if I'm not wrong, right, in the lineage of Sayyidah Khadija. You can check it out later on, see where she meets Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in lineage. Right? They all meet each other in lineage, the Quraysh. So it's one of the things whereby when you learn about a Sahabi and a Sahaba, right, they will say, okay, this particular Sahabi, he meets Rasulullah in this person in his lineage. So they share this grandfather or they share that grandfather. That is how they will always, speak about in the Meccan society. Right. So anyway, so قد رغبت فيك لقرابتك. So I have, I have desire for you, or to put it in the better terms, right? Because desire kind of like before, right? So what رغبة, يعني الرغبة, right? I have interest. You can say interest. Okay, I have an interest towards you, right? Because of your relations, your relation to my family, right? So first and foremost, the family relations, meaning that they know each other. They know of each other. They know of each other's families, right? They know each other. Right? So I have an interest, right? I would say an interest, right, towards you, right, and your position amongst the people, right? So she mentions a few things with regards to her, interest in Rasulullah. So I've gone through this before. I'm just going to repeat myself. And your wa amanatuka, and your trustworthiness, right, and your trustworthiness. And he's صادق الأمين صلى الله عليه وسلم وحسن خلقك, right? And the beautiful, your beautiful character, right, amongst the people, was hadithika, right, and the truthfulness of your speech. So now she quotes all of the good qualities of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. فكلم أعمامك ليسعوا في ذلك. Right? So speak to your uncles for them to, work on this, right? Let them work on this matter of marriage. So I'm going to skip forward because we went through this some time ago, right? And so tells him, why she's being so forward. And it is actually really not normal, right? It is not normal in their society, nor in our society, nor in most societies, right, for a woman herself to come forward in in wanting to marry a man. It's actually not a normal situation in a lot of societies, in majority most societies. Right? So some of the thing that said that Khadija herself, she came forward in proposing to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It was not actually a norm for her herself to do it, and she says it herself, right? But it was that of the importance, the urgency, right? That she found she found the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, that she's been looking for all these years, and she's not gonna let him slip out of her hands. He's like, no, if he's gonna marry anyone, he's gonna marry me. MashaAllah. She's been waiting for this moment for years right now. Right. So she said, Wallahi ma af'al hadha shay. I've never done this before. And I've never come forward to a man, seeking his hand in marriage. And I've never done this. لكني أرجو أن تكون أنت النبي الذي يبعث. Right? So, but however, I hope, right? So the first part is بأبي أنت وأمي. May my mother and my father be sacrificed for you. Right? This is the way they speak in Arabic. When they want to speak about an important matter, or to make a person feel important, right? They will say, may my mother and father be sacrificed for you. Right? In fact, there's a book by the same author, mashallah. Dr. Muhammad Abdul Yamani, right? So he has a book that is called Bi Abi Anta wa Ummi Ya Rasulallah. He has a book that is entitled that Bi Abi Anta wa Ummi Ya Rasulallah. And in which he quotes the different positions that the Sahaba, the companions, took when they said this statement towards the Prophet Sallallahu Bi Abi Anta wa Ummi Ya Rasulallah. By my mother and my father, meaning may my mother and my father be sacrificed for you, Ya Rasulullah, is a way of speech, right, in Arabic, and to show the importance of the person who's speaking, and the importance of the matter at hand, right? So, wallahi ma af'al hadha shay. By Allah, I've never done this before. لكني أرجو أن تكون أنت النبي الذي يبعث. But however, I have hope that it will be you are the one who's going to be the prophet who will be sent. فإن تكن هو, and if you are really him, فأعرف حقي ومنزلتي. If you're really him, then know my rights and my position. وادع الله الذي سيبعثك لي. And make dua to the God, like, who will raise you. Make dua for me. Okay, make dua for me to the Lord who will raise you as a prophet. Right. So here is where we came into the points, right? And inshallah, as we do this, as we go through the book, you pull out the learning lessons, or lessons, right, from the life of Sayyidah Khadija and her positions, in life, and her qualities. She has qualities, and also how Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as someone much younger than her, how he would address her, how he would be with her, how he would be, how he would assure her, and so on. She is the only wife of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam who was actually older than him, the only one. She was the only one. The rest of his wives, right, all of them, like Sayyidah Sauda is the oldest after Sayyidah Khadija. Right, so compared to Sayyidah Khadija, Sayyidah Sauda, his second wife, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, after the death of Sayyidah Khadija, he married Sayyidah Sauda, and he lived with her alone for about 2-3 years before he, had moved, into the house of, or room of Sayyidah Aisha, right? But he was monogamous with Sayyidah Sauda, in a sense, even though wed Sayyidah Aisha, but not having consummated the marriage. So Sayyidah Sauda was same age as Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or a few years younger. So she was very close in age to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, but the only person who was actually much more senior to Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, or senior in any way or form, I said Khadija. Right? None of his other wives were actually older than him in age. Right? From the narrations. So Sayyidah Sauda was the oldest one, but she was about the same age or younger. I would say that she was younger, right, when she married Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Right, so then he responds to her, and it's a very, very important point. That when you do something for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is never ever wasted. Right? It is never ever wasted. do something for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you've already won. You've already won. Well, whatever it may be that you do for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is why it is important for you to get your intentions right, your intentions straight, right? So that right now, in you doing what you're doing, right, you're already benefiting. You're already benefiting, subhanallah. Right? So which is why he says that, so now he says to the response, he says, Wallahi, la in kuntu ana huwa. Right? If it's really by Allah, if it's really me, like me who's him, right? I mean the last prophet. Then he says that it is really me who is him, the last prophet. لَقَدْ صَنَعْتِ عِنْدِي مَا لَا أُضِيعُهُ أَبَدًا. Right? For surely you have, done for me. Right? And this is very, very sweet, mashallah. Very sweet. And so it's why it said this was said after they got married. It was after that they had made the marriage. You have done for me, oh Khadija, you have done for me, or by me, what you have done for me, what I will never neglect ever. It means I'll never forget. I will never forget. I will never neglect. It will never go to waste ever, right? It will never go to waste. So that's the first thing. First and foremost, he recognizes her position, her sacrifices, what she's been doing, right? For him as her husband, and also her honoring, of her husband, right? And then I want to make a point, right, that it is from the dignity of a woman. It is from the dignity of a woman, right? That of course she does not come forward to a man and propose to him directly. It is from her dignity, is a muru'ah, right? There is a muru'ah there, okay? But if a woman is interested, in someone else, like what Sayyidah Khadija did, you go and check it out first. Get someone else to check it out. Okay, so she got Nafisa, her friend, to check it out. Right, so you don't have to face rejection in the face of people, right? I mean, that's it's a form of dignity, and in Islam, you do strive to maintain your dignity, so you don't, in a sense, embarrass yourself, right, in front of people by coming up to them directly, like a misunderstanding of this entire situation, and thinking that if I come up to them directly and I propose to them, or I inform them, of my interest. No, send like someone else to check it out, like if you're really interested, right? And then if you're really interested, then get your families to speak, right, to each other, right? Get your father, your brother, get someone in the family to go and speak with the other family if you're really interested. Right? But don't let it be you yourself go up, right? Unless, like for Sayyidah Khadija, she was very sure about it, right? She was very sure that he has an interest because Nafisa had done the work, right, just to check out if he was interested. Right? Then she was confident enough to come up and speak to him directly. Now, right? So, and he said, and what in yakun ghayri, and if it's not me, right? It's not me, then فَإِنَّ الْإِلَهَ الَّذِي but if it's not me, then the God for whom you have done this for, it means you've married me, for the sake of me being the last prophet, right? But if it's not me, I don't know, it's me, right? Then the God that you have done this for, right? He will not, he will not disappoint you ever, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he will not disappoint you ever, right? So they set a time, they set a date, right, for the wedding, right, and so his uncles came, right, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Right, so the point in this part of the story, right, is that whatever you do for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right, even if it was not what you actually intended, it's never going to go to waste, right, because of your intentions to do it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a very important point. It's a very important point, right? So you don't like, wasted, wasn't what I thought, it wasn't what I expected, it wasn't what no, you don't say that. I don't say that. You've done it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, khalas. You've done it for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? You already benefited by the intention, right? By the intention. And it said the intention of the believer is better, right, than his action. It is said that the intention of a believer is better than his own action. Subhanallah. Naam. Right. So and also one righteous intention will open up 70 doors of tawfiq. And there are many commentaries on intentions, right? The greatness of intentions. So inshallah, so they had the meeting, right, for the marriage, right? And amongst them was Abu Talib, Al-Abbas, and Hamza. These are the uncles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Particularly, Abu Talib, who always looked into the affairs of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Talib is the only shaqiq of Sayyidina Abdullah. Okay, Sayyidina Abdullah, the father of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he's the only shaqiq. Right? Shaqiq meaning same father, same mother, full brother. Okay, full brother, same father, same mother. It's called shaqiq, right? The other uncles are half uncles, right? So same father, different mother. So the Abbas and Hamza, they're all from different mothers compared to Abdullah, but they are the uncles of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So they showed a concern and an interest, right? And mashallah, this is like a side note with regards to uncles and in the past, right? In the past, right, especially in the time of Rasulullah, right, it would be that they will have many uncles and aunties, right? And it's all like you would say the grandfather's wives, right? So Abdul Muttalib, right? Abdul Muttalib, he had many wives, right? So his different wives had they bore children, right? So the children between each other, they're all siblings by father. They're siblings by father, right? In our society, while polygamy is not very widespread in our society, amongst the Arabs, like in Tarim or traditional societies, like it tends to be more common, polygamy. It just goes back to society and goes back to culture, right? So but in our society, what is more common, right, is you would say divorces and marriages. It means meaning families coming together, right? Families coming together, right? So step siblings, right? Step siblings appear, half siblings appear, right, because of remarriages, right? I also want to put a point here, because to learn this from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because unfortunately I've been hearing from some of my students, people uh treating this matter, of having half siblings or half uncles, half aunties, step parents and so on, right, in a very, very ugly manner, in a very ugly manner, of not embracing family members, like who are through different marriages, right? Whereas we see the perfect example in Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, right? That the same situations happened with him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we see the beautiful example of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam on how he never excluded, he never isolated, any, or he never made any family member feel like they are outcasts, or not part of the family, right? So Allah alam, our society, there's a lot of a lot to do, to learn from our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his greatness, in showing, in embracing all, and in fact in a society, right, whereby the uncles of Rasulullah, they come in and they look into the matter, right? So even though they were all half brothers, right, of Sayyidina Abdullah, right, they don't count themselves as non-brothers, right? But they are brothers. They count all of them as brothers of each other, like from the same father, right? So no kind of like rejection, of who's the full brother, who's the half brother, and so on. Some things that inshallah I will speak more about them. Right? Of course, of people who don't understand such matters. They don't either they don't know Sirah very well, or they've not studied very well. Allahu alam. Right. But Allahu alam. Now, so they went, this her uncles, they went, and they proposed to Sayyidina Khadija, right, through her uncle, right? So because it was the most correct opinion is that her father had passed away, right? Sayyidina Muhammad, so her father had passed away. That's ala asahil aqwal. Right, the most correct opinion is her father had passed away in the battle of the Fujjar. Right, before this, there was a battle that happened, and you mentioned about this in the Khuwailid, the fathers in the Khadija. Right, he himself was of the Hunafa. Right, he was of the monotheists, right, in Mecca. And that is why and why do we say that? Because Sayyidah Fatima al-Zahra, right, her lineage is also pure, like the lineage of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So Sayyidah Khadija is from a pure lineage of monotheists. Okay, she's from a pure lineage of monotheists. No one in her lineage ascribed partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the same can be said by Sayyidah Fatima az-Zahra in her lineage from father and mother side. No one ascribed partners to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But it's Harb Fujjar, a lot of the righteous people passed away, they were killed in this battle. So Abu Talib, right, he spoke, and then so this is what today's lesson is supposed to be, but we have 2 more minutes. Alhamdulillah alladhi ja'alana min dhurriyyati Ibrahim. So he praised Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who has made us of the children of Ibrahim. And of the, and it was Zara'a Isma'il, meaning of the progeny, and Zara'a means of the offspring of Sayyidina Isma'il. And already in this statement of Abu Talib, right, we see clearly how it is that people in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam could be monotheists, right? Because they were from Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam to Nabi Ismail, right? So of course they know about the oneness of God subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in fact, the innovations in society were only recent, right? It was not so long ago, it was only recent that they began praying to idols, right? So the monotheists were very much, present in society of Mecca in the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam before revelation. And there are people who say, how could it be that his parents were, are not kafir? Well, how could it be? And these are people who have very, 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 very weak understanding in a lot of things. And those who actually, comment on the parents of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam being in the hellfire, like first and foremost, the Ahl Fatra meaning people who come between prophets. Right? There was not a prophet during their time.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal 'asr. Innal insana lafi khusr illa alladhina amanu wa 'amilus salihati wa tawasaw bil haqqi wa tawasaw bis sabr. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.